All right. Well, it's always great to see y'all on a Friday before the ACC championship game. That means that we've had a great year, and so just excited to be back up here. Really proud of our football team and our staff. It's been an amazing season to this point. Obviously, being 12-0, can't do any better than that. And but just it's an honor to be here and represent our division and play for the overall championship. And man, Pat's awesome. I got such a great amount of respect from Coach Narduzzi and his team and what they've done. Both teams have earned the opportunity to be here, and you know, the chance to compete for the overall ACC title. So you got 2 champions, and you got 1 trophy. So we're excited about competing for it tomorrow night here in Charlotte. This is an awesome venue. I appreciate all the work that goes into this from all the Charlotte folks and the hospitality. Our ACC office, they do a great job in coordinating all this and making it a wonderful event, you know, for our players. We've got the ACC banquet tonight. I always look forward to being a part of that when we get a chance to be in this game. And you know, we've got congratulations to all the people who've won the awards and all conference players and so forth. So it's just a good night for all the ACC folks to come together. Got a bunch of legends. I think Joe Bostic is our legend, so I'm excited about seeing Joe. We have a unique connection that we both played for Gene Stallings. So he was, Coach Stallings was his coach with the Arizona Cardinals, and obviously my coach at Alabama. So we're excited about it. And Pitt is a tough, physical team. That's really, you know, if you know anything about Pat, man, that's kind of who he is. And his team epitomizes everything that I think he stands for and has really in his whole coaching career. They're going to challenge us in every regard. Defensively, they're in your face. Linebackers are downhill. They're pressed outside. Safeties are downhill. They're incredibly disciplined. They know their system. They don't make a lot of busts, and they get after you. So I think they have 13 guys back last year that started 4 games or more, so this is one of the most experienced defenses that we've seen all year. And then on the flip side, offensively, man, if you don't have your mind right, you're in for a long night, because these guys are going to come right at you. They're toe-to-toe. I mean, they're going to get in that I formation, backed up, middle of the field, going in, fullback. Fullback's a heck of a player. And they're really good on the outside. They've done a nice job at receiver. The one kid that transferred in there, 11, I believe, has really come on the last part of the year here. He's got a huge average per catch. But both backs, you know, one of them's right at 1,200 yards, the other one's right at 1,000 yards. So they just kind of hammer you. 3 runs, and then bam, 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 here comes some play action shot. But everything they want to do is be efficient in the run game. That's everything's going through that. A lot of shifts, a lot of motions, a lot of trades. Force you to have to be very disciplined in how you line up. You know, they do a great job in coordinating their offense. And you think, oh, we're just going to turn around and hand it off, but just they create angles and edges and extra gaps. And so how you fit that is critical. It's not just the front level, it's the second level, it's the third level. It's where your backers, it's your run support from the secondary, everybody being on the same page, because if you don't do it right and you don't communicate it right, and then you don't have your eyes on the right things, they're going to expose you. So I've been impressed with them, studying them on tape, and you know, they played some tough teams too. I mean, they played Notre Dame undefeated, played Central Florida undefeated. They played a really good Penn State team. So they've seen some tough opponents in this season, and you know, but at the end of the day, they won their division on the field and have earned the opportunity to be here. And it's what I tell our guys. It comes down to these 4 quarters. Doesn't matter what you've done in the previous, you don't get to carry any of that over. It comes down to this game. It's not like baseball or basketball where it's a best of 7, best of 5, and oh, well, we had a bad night, we'll play again tomorrow. No, it's a best of 1. So you better be ready for this moment. And we're excited about, again, representing the Atlantic and Clemson in this great championship event.
Okay, questions? First one, second row to our left.
Coach, you guys come in as heavy favorites. how do you balance that with your team and make sure that they're, they come in ready to play, given that you are such a heavy favorite?
Well, we just really don't ever pay attention to that, and I've had that question to me a couple times, and my answer is I think we've been a heavy favorite in every game. I don't think there's a game that we've played that we haven't been a heavy favorite in. So same things that we did all the way back against Furman, same things. We just make it about us. We prepare every week. We respect every opponent. We know anybody can beat us. This very team has beaten us, so I'm sure they've had that running on a loop all week. So, and a lot of those guys that beat us are still there. So in this senior class, this is their only ACC team they hadn't beaten, that they've got a losing record to. So I think it's kind of ironic that it comes down, their last conference game ever comes down to having a chance to play Pitt, the team our guys got a lot of respect for. But at the end of the day, for us, it's never about the opponent, who we play. It's always about how we play. There's a winning performance at every position, and we have a lot of accountability to that. So we just make it all about that, week in and week out, and then we celebrate every win. But like I said, that's not anything different. I have no idea what we're favored by or what. I have no clue. To me, it's 0-0 when you kick it off. You got to prove it every week.
Richard Walker, Gaston Gazette. You mentioned about being in Charlotte. You got a couple of guys around here, Tanner Muse, Justin Foster, that would consider kind of Charlotte home. Talk about what they've meant to your defense and Tanner coming through, not being able to play in the spring ball, and been a real factor for you this year.
Yes, Tanner has been one of our most improved players and one of our most consistent players from where he was last year as a first-year starter last year. He has been a very steady guy, unbelievably committed. Has just grown up as a player, and more importantly, just his mindset of how he prepares every week. I mean, he goes above and beyond. He puts a lot of work in on his own, and he's just become an excellent leader. He's a very, very talented player. His weaknesses that he had coming out of last season, you just love to see guys, because I mean, obviously part of our job is to critique and give guys, hey, here's what you got to do to become a better player, and he's worked on those things relentlessly. So I'm really proud of him. And then Justin Foster has quietly become a heck of a player for us. I mean, he really has. And he's just wish we could have redshirted him last year, but we had to have him. And but it's paid off. I mean, he's had a good year for us. He's just got some freaky All-American type guys in front of him, but he's quietly become a very good player, and I think he's got a bright future in front of him. Got a lot of confidence in him, and just a guy that fits our program to a T.
Second row or right.
Hey, Dabo, Chris Heidel from Hermiton Radio.
Chris.
I'm in the same spot like every year. Let's talk about Pickett, the quarterback for Pitt. What do you see on film, and it might give you a problem tomorrow night? Yeah,
he's a crafty player, man. He buys time. He does a nice job of extending plays. They support him with their run game. I mean, they want to be efficient to where they can kind of stay on schedule. And then he's popping big plays, in the passing game. They like to get him out of the pocket on the boots and neckets. They love that part of the game. But he's a good thrower, but he's just a great competitor. I mean, and he'd get the ball down the field, but he makes plays with his legs. Those are things that he does well, and you can tell that he's very confident in what they're asking him to do. So, good player.
Far left.
And Coach, the fact that this is now a 4-year process of coming back to this event, 3 of the 4 have been here. I know every game you have an organized build-up and that kind of thing, but does it maybe bring a sense of calm because it's very much routine for you and the staff and the players now, repeating this year after year now?
Well, I definitely think experience is a positive. I don't think it's a negative. I think when you have a lot of experience doing something, there is some confidence that can come from that. But you still got to go do it. We still got a lot of guys on our team that this is their first experience. So I think that's, no matter how much we've experienced things as coaches, you always have new players that it's a first experience for them. So you kind of rely on the veteran guys to help you.
Top right, 2 questions up there.
Matt Dowell, watched Fox out of Columbia. Coach, kind of going off that, you've spoken about the senior class and the success they've had. What do you think they've learned the most about playing in these big games that maybe you don't know when you are an 18-year-old and a freshman?
Yeah, just don't make the moment too big. I mean, just really just stay true to what you do. I mean, we don't really. I think just kind of our approach helps them in that. We just try to make every game the biggest game of the year, and I think so. They kind of become a little numb to that. We don't prepare any differently. In fact, we probably prepared a little less this week than we did early part of the year, just simply because it's game 13 and week 14 for us. And there's certain things early part of the year that we do that this time of year we don't do, just simply because of the calendar and where we are and the tread on the tires, so to speak. But I think the biggest thing is we just make everything routine, and we don't ever try to make the stage any bigger week in and week out. We try to make every game the biggest game of the year, and we put everything we got into it. We prepare the same. So I think that helps more than anything with these guys. They all understand it, but at the end of the day, you've got to play well. Same things that won those other 12 games will win this one. So you got to make a decision on how you're going to play, and continue to prepare with the same commitment, and you got a chance.
Top right again.
Greg Brzezinski, ABC Columbia. Coach, this is obviously, like you said, just following up a little bit what Pete said there too. The experience carries over, not necessarily the outcome. From 2009 in Tampa to 2018 in Charlotte, what's been the difference in year 6 that you've been in this game to the first year you weren't in? And what do you think Coach Narduzzi is experiencing in his first go of this?
This will be, so the first one was down there in Tampa in 2009, and we didn't punt in that game, and Georgia Tech didn't punt either. Only game we've ever been a part of where neither team punted once. That was an unbelievable experience. It was. I think that was new for everybody because I don't think they had it in Tampa before. So that was kind of a one and done, I believe, maybe. I can't remember who was in 10, if it was there or not. But it was a great experience for us. And then when we had an opportunity to get back in it 2 years later in 2011, we had a lot of guys that were in that game that they wanted to finish, and we played maybe one of our best games of the year in that moment. But I think the main thing for me back in 2009, I was it was my first year, and I was so excited to just win the division because we hadn't done that. And I was so excited to have an opportunity to go compete for our championship, first time in 20 years. And we were, I kind of had it all scripted in my mind on how it was supposed to go, and man, it didn't go that way. I think they went 86 yards on us there to win that game at the end. And I remember walking off the field in Tampa, and oranges were being thrown at us, and I'm like, man, this is just like, man, I always tell myself God never says oops, and I'm just like, I don't like that, but that's kind of what I live by. Because I was like, we're supposed to be going to the Orange Bowl, 30 years since we've been in the Orange Bowl and hadn't won an ACC championship in 20 years. And so it was a very disappointing moment. But it's ironic that 6 years later we were back in Tampa and won the national championship. I think the biggest thing is just don't let one moment define you. Just keep working to get better and keep growing and learning lessons. And that's what we did. And I think Pat's probably the same way. I mean, he's probably thrilled to be in the game, and because his team has earned that. You start the season, everybody's kind of running the race, if you will. The only one's going to win. And, man, they came out on top. And that's all that matters. So I know that they're probably super excited to have the experience for the first time. And they're going to do everything they can to win the game, and they certainly are capable of beating us. There's no question about it. And nothing matters. You don't carry over the touchdowns, you know? You don't carry over the sacks. You don't carry over the mistakes either. It's all about this game. And in championship football, anything can happen. But regardless of what happens, if we win the game, man, what a great opportunity for him to continue to grow their program. You know, that's, for us, that's kind of, it's all built together year after year after year, just trying to have consistency. And we've been able to do that. But it's, then the biggest thing is, I think that's changed is we've had a consistent venue. You know, when I first got the job, it was a different venue a bunch. And now we've had the consistency in the venue, and you kind of know what you're shooting for. So you have this visualization year in and year out, as opposed to, you know, all right, okay, where are we playing? All right, that type of deal. So I think it's given us a lot of stability in our league and credibility.
Second row. Oh, third row.
Hey, Coach Trevor Grove, CUTigers.com. Jamie Skalski just played in the one game at Georgia Tech when Kendall Joseph was hurt, so I presume he'll be playing for you moving forward. How much can he help you on defense and special teams in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that probably could have competed for a starting spot this year. So it's kind of nice to have a guy back like Skalski. He's got 3 games left. So hopefully we can get 3 games. That would be awesome. But it's huge to get a player like that to be available. And we got a couple of young guys as well that we've kind of saved, if you will, for kind of this time of the year that they were kind of green lighting. And hopefully can get some help in the postseason from a couple of them.
To our right, middle of the room.
Dabo, Rich Walsh, CBS, Pittsburgh. This Pitt team, is it much different or better than that team that beat you in 2016?
You're going to ask me that after the game? That one was pretty good. It was Peterman was at the quarterback, and yeah, they were really good. It was a crazy game. I mean, Sean had maybe the game of his life. They threw for like 580 yards, but we had 3 interceptions. And I think a couple were down on the red zone, and that was an unbelievably competitive game on both sides. We couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop us. We couldn't stop them. We had more turnovers than they did, and that ended up being the difference in the game. And then they stuffed us on 4th and 1 at the end of the game where we could have put it away, and we didn't. And then they made a great kick. But it was just an awesome game. You know, I don't see much different. I think defensively they're exactly the same. In your grits, you know, you can beat us, come beat us. You know, they don't give you any layups. They give you no layups. They're not a bend but don't break type of deal. They're going to challenge you and you know, and force the issue. And then on the offensive side, they're a little different than when Canada was there, but not much. They killed us that day with all the shovel. I mean, they were running the shovel option the whole game, and we couldn't. We up the field when we should have squeezed, and squeezed when we should have been up the field, and we just could not stop them the whole game. And the quarterback played great. He had a couple of big plays on us, but they're a little different schematically as far as just kind of the style. You haven't seen as much of that, but they still do a lot of shifts. They'll do a lot of motions. They're still run oriented. They're still a very physical approach. That has not changed.
Second row.
Coach, Jerry DePaul, Pittsburgh Tribune Review. I know coaches sometimes follow each other, you know, follow some of the strategies they use, sometimes even copy some of the strategies. What do you know about Pat before he joined the ACC?
I knew nothing about other than he was at Michigan State, you know, because I knew Mark D'Antonio. I've gotten to know him over the years. I really like Mark, and so I watched them play, and I always had great respect of the defenses that they had there and their style of play. So I just knew of him professionally, but I didn't know him. And then when he came into the league, it was pretty cool to get to know him. He's a lot like a Dazio, you know. He's just. There's no gray area with Pat. You know, he's a very passionate guy, and he just loves what he does. Loves the players. I think he's about all the right things. It's easy to see that in him when you spend some time. You know, I mean, he really loves his players, and he's passionate about you know, building a consistent program, and being a winner, and all those things. He just puts his heart in everything, and I love that about him. And then So I've gotten to know him when he came in the league, and then he's one of the coaches that gets to go on the Nike trip every year. So I've had a chance to spend some time with him there as well, and just get to know him on a little more personal level. So that's really it. That's the extent of it. Prior to him coming into the league, but, really like him a lot.
Back row left.
Hey, Devin. How do you feel about your defensive team's practice this week, and how satisfied are you that they're going to improve on those areas that were of concern last weekend?
Yeah, well, they've had a great week. I mean, they responded well. We did not play well last week, but I thought South Carolina played great. And their quarterback played lights out. Their receivers were outstanding, and they made some critical plays. But from our perspective on things that we got to do better, we did not line up well. We were really poor with our eyes, and we did not leverage that. We didn't play proper technique and leverage. But we played hard. We played with great effort. They had some formational things that we didn't adjust well to. So we've had a great week. We've worked. It's a different presentation this week, but oftentimes in this business, it's kind of professional courtesy to just see if you fixed a few things. So we wouldn't be surprised to just see if they check our oil and make sure we fixed it. So we've worked hard. Our guys have had an awesome year. I mean, they've had an unbelievable year defensively. They had a bad night last week, but they did some good things too. But they were eager to get back to work this week, and I think we'll play well.
Back right.
Grace Rainer, the Post and Courier. Going back to your relationship with Coach Narduzzi, were you about to tell us some funny story about Costa Rica and some cold water coming in?
Yeah, I just remember. I mean, I'm a wimp. I'm from Alabama, so I don't like the cold, and that water was like freezing cold. I mean, I can't tell you. I like put my toes in. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting in that way. It was freezing. And D'Antonio and Narduzzi are out there and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get in the water. I cannot go down like this. And so I'm in that water for like 30, I was numb after 10 minutes, but we just hung out and talked for this was a couple years ago, but we just hung out and talked for like an hour in this freezing cold water, and there's nothing to it. Like both of them, like nothing. And I am the biggest pansy you've ever seen. I didn't want to jump in, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to get in this water. Yeah, we had a good laugh about that.
Back to the room.
Hey, Dabo Philbin from WSOC in Charlotte. How valuable can the next couple of games be for a guy like Darion Kendrick, who I would expect you'll be relying on more in the next couple of years here?
Yeah, all the games have been valuable. I mean, and I think if you've watched us down the stretch, he's become a guy that's been more and more involved, and he's just a great football player. His confidence has grown. The game has slowed down to him. He's electric, he's tough, and he's passionate about it. He's one of my favorite guys because he and Christian Wilkins are two guys that probably like to practice more than any other football players I've ever been around. I mean, DK loves to practice. And it's so cool to see a kid like that rolling in here as a freshman that he just likes practice. And so I just think he's already been a great player this year, but I think he's got a really bright future, and I think all of these games are going to, pay huge dividends for him as he comes back next year for his sophomore year. Just the experience and the knowledge and the confidence and just having a mental picture of what it looks like and what he's got to do to get himself ready for the season. And because last summer you don't know, and so now, like any young player who gets some experience, you see him grow.
Left corner.
Madeline Hackett, WIFF in Greenville. You just earlier mentioned that playing here has helped visualize a win. I know in the past you've talked about the team meditating before. Is that a practice that you're carrying through up till tomorrow, and is it working out for you?
Yeah, we haven't been meditating as a team, but that's one of those things that I think some of those guys, I can't remember what the app was called, but we did that once or twice as a team to introduce the app, whatever that thing was, and so I don't know how many of them do it, but we do try to encourage them to, everybody has to ready themselves, and everybody gets ready differently, but definitely encourage those guys every week as the game gets closer to kind of quiet themselves, and some of them listen to music, some of them totally have quiet, some of them read, whatever it may be, to get themselves in the right state of mind, because this game, a lot of this game's mental, you know, and the mindset. You know, it's not just a skill set. You know, you got to have the mindset and the heart set to go with the skill set. It's important.
Okay, to our left.
Will Vandervoort, the Clemson Insider. Dabo, just a little update on Trey Lamar, and is he going to play tomorrow, or what's his status?
Yeah, he's good. He'll be ready to go.
To our right.
Hey, Dabo, talk about Pitt's running game. You know, I talked to you on Sunday about the 2 running backs and all that stuff. You know, what do you seeing since the film and watching them?
Really, nothing's changed since we talked earlier this week. They're going to force the issue. They use both of them. They're both great players, and you know, one gets the hot hand. You might see more of that one than the other one, but you know, they're really, really talented. They're a lot like Boston College with the 2 backs that BC has, with the exception of they're more balanced with how they use them. You know, they're going to run all the pull schemes, gap schemes. They're going to run some zone, and then all the play actions off of it. But everything goes through the running backs with this team. Everything.
Any other questions? Last question, back row.
Hey, Dabo, Sandra Sullivan, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Tony was telling us earlier this week how Travis sort of still doesn't really know his potential. ACC Player of the Year. What's his ceiling, or does he even have one?
I don't think so. I think he can be as good as he wants to be, and you know, just good Lord keep him healthy. That is just kind of his demeanor every day. He does not carry himself in any regard like he's some type of superstar or something like that. He's very unique that way. He just kind of blends in, except for when you hand him the ball and then he stands out. He's just a very low maintenance superstar, and loves his teammates. Doesn't say a whole lot. He's hilarious though. He's got a great personality, and just a sweet kid. I mean, just really has a sweet spirit to him. Tony's done an awesome job with that group, and really proud of him. I mean, you know, told me he's Player of the Year, and he couldn't believe it. He's like, what? You know, he couldn't believe it. So he's come a long way, but he's still got a lot more room for growth, mentally and physically, and I think he'll continue to do that, put the work in. But he's a special player, and he'll play for a long time if he can stay healthy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank y'all.
Okay, we asked